Hi, I'm Dr. Wordperson, and today we're going to talk about a heist story from the ancient world. Did you watch Ocean's 11 and think to yourself, this movie's pretty good, but what it could really use is more pranking and corpses? Then have I got the story for you, Rhampsinitus Treasury. Rhampsinitus Treasury is an episode out of Herodotus Histories, a work in ancient Greek from the 5th century BCE. It reads as part well-researched history, part Herodotus just writing down whatever weird shit people told him. Rhampsinitus Treasury belongs to the second category. It goes like this. Once upon a time, in Egypt, there lived a king named Rhampsinitus. He had a ton of silver, the most the world had ever seen. Now, the architect that built the vault to protect the silver included a secret stone block, which could be removed by one man or two. Much later, when the architect was dying, he called over his two sons and told them that they were set for life because he'd included this removable stone block in the king's treasury. The two sons aren't named in this story, so for fun, we're gonna call them George Clooney and Matt Damon. Anyway, the architect expired and George Clooney and Matt Damon started making trips out to rob the king. It was hugely successful and they made off with a ton of money. So at this point I can hear y'all saying, no way is this better than Ocean's 11. There's no plot, there's no conflict, there's no character development, no crazy scheme. They just show up and waltz off with all the money. But it's at this point, my friends, that Rhampsinitus Treasury takes the abrupt turn into genius that leaves Ocean's 11 in the dust. Because on one of these trips to the vault, the king has left out traps, Matt Damon gets caught in the traps, and how do the two thieves deal with this problem? George Clooney chops Matt Damon's fucking head off! Let's back up. Matt Damon is caught in the trap. He calls his brother over. He's like, George Clooney, brother, we're in big trouble. If the king recognizes me, he'll have us both killed. You gotta cut my head off. Now this is George Clooney's only brother. They've been inseparable since birth. The love between them, the pathos, the sadness, the weighty choice, the haha, just kidding. George Clooney's like, cool by me. So then George Clooney exits the treasury and goes home carrying Matt Damon's severed head. Would somebody Photoshop this for me, please? I really want to see this. Now, George Clooney may have escaped with his life, some money, and Matt Damon's severed head, but he must now face the most difficult challenge of his career. Not the impossible to break security system of the world's most secure vault, but his mom. You see, in hopes of catching the thief, Rhampsinitus has strung up Matt Damon's headless corpse and posted guards on it and ordered them to arrest anyone they see crying over the body. Now, George Clooney's mom is not taking this well at all. She tells George Clooney he better find some way to get his brother's body back or else she's turning him into the king. So then George Clooney's like, okay mom, fine, geez. George Clooney attacks this problem with wine. But he's smart about it. He doesn't just walk up to the guards with a bunch of wine like, here, have all you want, because that would be too obvious. Instead, he loads some donkeys down with wineskins and drives them past the guards. But first he loosened the necks on the wineskins, so as he's driving them past, he's yelling, oh my god, all my wine is leaking out, what do I do? So the guards run out with cups, and George Clooney gets all mad at them, like, don't you dare take my wine. And then the guards, like, cheer him up, and then they get to be friends, and they get to drinking together, and finally the guards all pass out. George Clooney shaves the right side of their faces because pranking! And then he cuts down Matt Damon's headless corpse and heads off for home. At this point, Rhampsinitus is pretty exasperated. He takes what we can all agree is the logical next step. He puts his daughter isn't named, so to keep up the Ocean's 11 theme, we're gonna call her Julia Roberts. He puts Julia Roberts in a brothel, and he commands that anyone who wants to have sex with her must first tell her the cleverest and the naughtiest thing he has ever done. Herodotus didn't believe this part, but whatever. Anyway, how do you think George Clooney solves this problem? Well, if you guessed dismembered corpses, you would be correct. George Clooney gets the arm off a freshly killed corpse. He sticks it under his cloak. Then he goes to Julia Roberts' place. He tells her how he decapitated Matt Damon. Then he tells her how he got Matt Damon's decapitated body back. He was the guy! She grabbed at him! But it was dark, so George Clooney gave her the freshly killed corpse arm and ran. Or skedaddled? Yeah, let's go with skedaddled. At this point, Rhampsinitus concludes that this thief is the cleverest man alive. He promises the thief amnesty and a reward. George Clooney comes forward, the king marries him to Julia Roberts, and everyone lives happily ever after. Except maybe Julia Roberts? I mean, she just had to have sex with a bunch of random guys and had to marry the one who gave her a corpse arm. Anyway, Rhampsinitus Treasury is a great story well told. It is amazing how much characterization it manages to pack in despite having no overt descriptions of any of the characters. We see George Clooney's glittering intelligence, his ruthlessness, his style, the way he's clearly enjoying this game of cat and mouse, but we also see how even the cleverest thief in the world is still answerable to Mom. Rhampsinitus, on the other hand, is the consummate pragmatist. After trying a few things and getting hopelessly outclassed, he decides, well, if you can't beat him, join him. He doesn't have a whole lot of ego in this. He just wants the job done. And just remember, if you're ever in a bind, there isn't a whole lot dismembered corpses won't... Wait, is this really how we're ending the... So, that was my show. Thanks for watching. Sorry there wasn't more quoted Greek in there. The whole thing in Herodotus is written in indirect speech, which is just not very good for quoting from. Be sure to like and subscribe, and if you can think of any other episodes from ancient history that would make an awesome movie, please let me know in the comments.